a special thanks for the 6 intrepid people from the New World.
Yeah.
First of all, a special mention to my great friend Richard Dick here, who, for those who don't know, he is the father of dear Cindy.
Yeah.
At least I think he is. And then, of course, I've got my dear grandson David. And of course, the great thing this time is fiance, not girlfriend, Shauna. The spirit in your glasses. And to David and Shauna. It's really made the whole occasion worthwhile. In many ways, apart from coming to see me, you American people picked a rotten year. Firstly, we've had atrocious weather. In August, it's the worst for 90 years. It's been very, very cold. And also, you must be appalled with the prices of this country are now. We can probably blame your dollar, actually. Anyway, I don't want to bore you anymore. I'd like to thank everybody, and I hope to see you all again in another 10 years. I'd like to add that in the event of me surviving, which I intend to, I don't want to bother you with any presents. I think if you could subscribe to a mail order Court Girls. I understand it would definitely cause my death. At least I would die happy.
I'm now going to read you an ode. This is your life in about 3 minutes. This is an ode for Don's 90th birthday. On September the 12th, 1918, little Archibald was born, with a silver spoon not forlorn. In the fair town of Tunbridge Wells, he spent his youth chasing girls. His house, although not a stately home, was very grand and stood alone. There was a housekeeper and a maid. Little Lord Fauntleroy made the grade. When Archibald was only a babe, his mummy dear went to her grave. His father succumbed to the drink, and very soon was over the brink. Poor Archie was left an orphan, with Sister Sissy who played the organ. As he grew up, he became known as Don, so with this name we will carry on. By 1939, World War II was declared. Don signed up and got prepared. Before long, he was sent to France. An adventure, he thought, as long as he wasn't caught. He ended up with thousands of others on the beach at Dunkirk. 3 days and 3 nights, he dug in, he waded out and tried to swim. Got on a ship to dear old Blighty. Oh, what a wonderful sighty. Home on leave in 1942, he married our mother, the lovely Hannah. And in 1947, Christina was born. That's me. By then, they had moved to the north, but the worst winter ever soon came forth. With no electricity or gas, they soon moved south, alas, to Manchester, where Don bought a store, and very soon we were 4. Brother John was born, a sickly child. But also very meek and mild. Now Don got itchy feet and soon was looking for a new retreat. we headed down south to return to his roots and found a shop in Crawley to fit his boots. Our mother Hannah became very poorly and passed away. For all of us, a very sad day. But a new lady came into Don's life who would soon become his wife. Her name was Marinda, whose charm and good looks were only exceeded by the way that she cooks. A widow herself and mother of 4, Sylvia, David, Keith and Lynn, we were all soon to become kith and kin. Her treacle tart stole his heart, and quite soon they were wed. They were so happy, you could tell by the springs in their bed. Right, I will continue. Young John wanted to spread his wings and joined a ship to see foreign things. Whilst on the cruise ship, he met the love of his life. Cindy, a Yankee girl, became his wife. They settled down in the US of A and still live there to this day. Don and Marinda spent many happy holes with John and Cindy, of whom he extols. To complete their family, 2 Yankee children were born, a little boy David and sweet Emily. So Don now became Papa Don, and back home Mary married Neville. Another grandson was born, they named Edward, and soon twin girls, Susie and Rebecca, arrived. I really don't know how we all survived. Like the old woman who lived in a shoe, there were many more step-grandchildren, and here they are to name but a few. There is Alan and Natalie, Sylvia's 2, and Dion and Louise, with Keith as their dad. For David, a daughter named Brooke. And last but not least, Lynn produced 2. Claudine and Richard, that makes quite a few. I apologise for not naming the husbands and wives and partners who were in their lives. After 19 happy years, dear Marinda suddenly died. Don was quite shattered, and alone again he cried. But he got on with life with a stiff upper lip, and looked forward even more to his American trip. Often visiting the colonies in the US of A, he would have stayed there if he had his way. Yes. But fate takes a hand, and here he still thrives in good old Blighty without any wives. So here we are today. What a milestone in life, to reach 90 without too much trouble and strife. When asked what he would like for a birthday present, he replied, a mail-order bride would be good. So please raise your glasses, one and all. Happy birthday, Don. Hope you have a ball.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Well, it was
Ladies
really
and
sort of...
gentlemen, I'll just have your attention for a moment. It's 50 years ago this year that I first met Don. He came down to Kent to meet and stay with his sister Pat, whose daughter I was about to marry. Well, from then on, he went back up north and I carried on south, and our lives just didn't meet until about 12 years ago, and circumstances brought us together. Since that day, we have been the best of buddies, and we have had a wonderful time together. He's an amazing character, and what a sense of humour. You know, we had super fun together, and we had great laughs, haven't we, Yeah. Now, he's had an awful lot of traumas in his life, but he's come through them all. He survived. And here he is, 90 years of age, still got all his marbles, and he's still got his sense of humour. But, oh no, no. But through dear old Dunk, I have met all you lovely people. And what a dramatic effect that has had on my life. I cannot thank you enough. And I know what a tremendous support you have all been to him. It has been wonderful.
Yes.
Now,
Dick on the right turned 75 in January, so he deserves the total.
Happy birthday, Dave.
happy birthday.
But as far as Papa Don's concerned, Papa Don did a great job as I was growing up as far as coming over every single year for at least a month. Well, we always knew that he was going to come over for a month. Just like we knew he'd be in London for about 5 days this trip. My mom tells herself it's going to be like 2 days. But now it's going to be about a week. But that's good because he really made a presence in my life. I mean, I feel like it's hard to describe because, I mean, how many people have, you know, grandparents in different countries. So I really appreciate that. But as far as on the funny side, Papa Don can't pronounce any of the cities in Washington. So neither can my dad, though. He lives there. So there's this place called, they're all American Indian names. There's a place called Mukilteo, but Papa Don calls it Muckalito. No matter what you say. And it's a beach, but the beach is in Washington. The weather's the same as it is here, so it's not that nice. There's like a bunch of rocks and some fake sand and stuff. But Papa Don would love to go there with his binoculars, the big ones like that, to look at like the one woman that might be there. So happy birthday, Papa Don.
It's going to be there now if you could.
Well, I reckon I've got the toughest gig of the night. You know, David's been very funny. I think Don's speech was probably the best. Everybody's probably heard. Who hasn't heard the cow speech? The cow story. Put your hands up. Who hasn't heard the cow story? Hands raised. Hands raised.
I'm happy to hear it again.
I think it's my favourite. It's the best story I've ever heard. It's hilarious. Grandad, you can chip in at any minute you like to correct me. But as I remember it, Grandad was looking after with I think one other chappie in the war, an old a tunnel somewhere in England, wasn't it?
That's correct.
It's a November evening, and there's lots of fog and mist, and it's dastardly cold, he'd probably say. And their main task, their only task for the evening, is to guard this tunnel. And it gets to midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was, and they hear these footsteps in the tunnel. And they both jump up and frightened, you know. Could it be a German? Who knows? So Grandad's got his one line that that's been drilled into him by the army, and he stands up and very promptly says, "Halt! Who goes?" It may not have been exactly that. I'll caveat it. I may have made it up. And there's no response. So he says it again, and there's no response. And then he says it a third time. And as you'll all know, Grandad won't not be spoken to or answered to after 3 times. What he does is decides to point his rifle and shoot into the tunnel. And he hears a large thud. And then, what he does is, most people would probably be quite worried, they've just shot someone, but he decides to sit back down again and check it out in the morning. So the morning comes along, you know, we should probably go and check what it was we shot. And with his flashlight goes into the tunnel, sees that, I don't know, I'm probably quite good at maths, I have no idea what the odds are, but he managed to shoot a cow. He didn't just shoot the cow, he didn't just shoot it in the foot, he shot it right between the which I think is just is I think just sums him up. I don't know how many people have sat around this table. Let's say 30. But I think if we all shot at a cow with our eyes shut, we'd probably miss. But I think Grandad, 90 years old, probably the luckiest, am I allowed to swear, bastard in the world, shot the thing right in the middle of the eyes, and I think for that, everybody should raise their glasses and say happy birthday.
Remember, at that time of year, the beginning of the war, and I was only